Hello guys and welcome back to F1 2016 Career Mode. We're doing part 5 today, going to be from Spain at Catalonia, following on from the Russian Grand Prix last time out. Let's have a look, see what's on the table ahead of us in terms of free practice to start the weekend off with.
Hi, how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
So good news heading into the weekend, we do have car upgrades available. It's going to be the reduction in drag, a 2.4% reduction in drag. Here it's going to be turbulence created from the wheel profile can be reduced by more effective barge boards, resulting in a reduction of drag. So that's going to be helping straight line speed, fuel efficiency, all that kind of good stuff. You can see on the left hand side a lot of upgrades for the AI cars here. We've got McLaren Honda increasing downforce and increasing their engine power. Ferrari increasing downforce and reducing the drag. Mercedes with reducing the drag and increasing their engine power, so they're going to be absolute monsters in a straight line. Mixed weather on the cards available on the cards for the weekend as well, which is going to be interesting to see how that plays out. You can see on the right hand side there we are now the fourth fastest car. McLaren making a jump forward, but you can see Ferrari and Mercedes just miles ahead at this stage of the season with their upgrades coming into play. So obviously we've had some good results up to this point in the season. It's going to be interesting to see how we get on in one of the more sort of downforce dependent tracks, but for now we're going to be heading onto the track, look at that practice program, get some more resource points available to us, and also look to see how much of an effect the new upgrades going to have on the car as we test it on track for the first time.
Welcome to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. Over the next few minutes, the teams will be heading out onto this classic Formula One track for what we're expecting to be a very hectic practice session.
So we're just going to be running the track acclimatization first of all, running the hard tyres here, so obviously it's going to be a little bit difficult. First practice, track's still going to be green, no rubber really laid down yet, and also we've got the hard tyres, the hardest available dry tyre to run. As you see, we've only got 2 greens so far and we're really nailing the rest of this lap as you would expect, and obviously this is a pre-season test track as well, so all the teams and drivers up to date with it.
That's fantastic. You obviously have a really good understanding of this circuit.
That we do. Engineer knows it, we know it, and we've managed to nail the track acclimatization. Now for the tyre wear test, you can see we're up to 6 purple laps so far, completing the 7th as well. So some solid lap times once more as the clouds are starting to roll in, but the track just about remaining dry at this stage of the session as we're now on the soft yellow walled tyres here for the qualifying simulation. Going round at the final corner, across the line here, 4 tenths up on what was needed. And that's going to be more purple points on the board. So again, another perfect practice program run at round 5 in the championship. The maximum amount of points available, so we're going to be gaining a whopping 218 there, now 379 in the bank, as we're going to have to look ahead to see what's available for qualifying.
Hi, how are you? I'm just passing on your qualifying goals for this weekend.
Okay, so qualify 8th or higher, make sure you qualify above your rival Lewis Hamilton, okay, and beat Sergio Perez, our teammate, of course, standard stuff there as you'd expect.
Here we are at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the start of today's qualifying session. It won't be long now until we're ready to join the action down at trackside.
So on our first lap here, so we've got some yellow flags up ahead as we've got a recovering car. This is just Q1, it's Magnussen that's recovering, Bottas in front. We're obviously on the, as you can see, the white wall tyres, so the medium compound, not the softest available, as we're making our way through the traffic. Actually being done no favours at all by the banana car and Bottas himself giving us some dirty air as well as we cross the line, popping it into 16th place, so literally on the bubble for Q1. But that is hopefully going to be enough. We're going to risk it for the chocolate variation of a biscuit, and we do indeed make it through by just a couple of tenths there, but that's going to be a set of soft tyres safe, which we then used in Q2, and you can see we got through in P7 there. Sebastian Vettel not making it through, and interestingly of course we've got Ricciardo and Raikkonen, the couple of AI cars, making it through on the medium tyre as we're now into Q3. Already set a lap time of 21.598, good enough for 6th place at the moment. Hamilton again, as normal, his qualifying pace not there, just ahead of us on track at the moment in 5th place, or on the grid I should say, as we're now coming through for what's hopefully going to be our fastest lap in this qualifying session. Just sweeping the car through turns 1 and 2, opening up turn 3, getting on the power nicely, and just powering through the exit as we come towards the end of the first sector. And we're going 200s quicker than Rosberg. We've actually gone purple through the first sector, a 10th up on ourselves, which is awesome to see, as we've really been getting a good rhythm through that first sector. going down this downhill left-hander, very difficult to get on the power, as you can see there, just trying to feed the throttle in whilst turning, as we're now coming into this this very difficult left, and then a semi-right-hander there as the back end of the car, always wanting to swing round and overtake the front, as we have to fling it in over the curb for the right-hander, using up all the curb on the exit, opening up DRS once more. So you didn't get the greatest run through there, just losing a little bit of time on the delta compared to where we were, braking extremely late as you dare for that left-handed hairpin, just about getting it slowed down, as we're now just idling through this right-hander, waiting for the fronts to grip, and then obviously powering on, getting the car rotated nicely as we come into this section of 90-degree corners. Checkered flags out, confirming this will be our last run. Just about missing the big sausage curve there on both sides, picking up the power nicely on the curve, try not to lose the rear end, full throttle through the right-hander, pulling through all the gears, DRS coming active just for a short burst of the line, and it's going to be up into P3, improving by 3/10 on that qualifying lap. So that's an absolutely awesome job there. Not quite on the front row, but we'll certainly take third place in qualifying.
As we wind down from the excitement of qualifying, here's a look at your top three. Rosberg, Ricciardo, and a Force India. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow, where we'll be live with all the action. And until then, it's goodbye.
So Rosberg just absolutely decimating the field there, 6.5 tenths clear of Ricciardo, who puts his Red Bull on the front row. We're in third place ahead of Verstappen. Hamilton down in 6th place, a whole second off his teammate and some 4 tenths off us. So that's good for our rivalry of him. We've managed to out-qualify him, which is going to give us some good resource points once more and hopefully help us out in the rivalry challenge, as it's another 112 gained, 511 in the bank now, as we're going to need to look at seeing what we're going to be putting that towards in the next few races for development wise. As you can see from the rivalry, despite out-qualifying Hamilton, which you'd think is more important, his fastest lap and all the sectors and everything were actually better than ours throughout the 3 parts of qualifying. So he's actually increased, well, he's actually taken the lead in the rivalry challenge, which is a little bit odd, but it is what it is.
Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race, so I thought I'd pass them on and wish you luck. Take care.
That's extremely thoughtful of you, Emma, I must admit. Finish the race in 6th place or higher. Hopefully that'll be doable. Beating Hamilton and Perez, the standard secondary objectives.
What does the Spanish Grand Prix have in store for us today, I wonder? I hope we see some tight wheel-to-wheel action down the main straight, circa Mansell and Senna way back in '91. Or maybe we'll have a more strategic race here on a track where overtaking can be difficult.
I certainly think it's going to be more of a strategic element to the race this time round, Crofty, I must admit. As we're looking at there, looking at a 2-stop or a 3-stop, the soft and the medium tyres looking to be favourable. We're actually going to change our stint length here on the second stop, just to bring that lap a lap forward on the second stint there, to just try and share it through on the tyres and the medium tyres, obviously trying to make sure we get some good track position for the final stint, depending on how the race goes so far, as we're just completing the formation lap here. Just Rosberg in the Mercedes and Ricciardo on our right up ahead, and obviously Ricciardo there you can see on the white walled medium tyre, so that should hopefully help us off the line, as obviously just waiting for the rest of the cars to come through the final corner and take their positions on the grid. So behind us we've got Verstappen and then one of the Ferraris, and then Hamilton back in 6th place. So hopefully with a good start we might be able to have a look at Ricciardo if we can make the use of the tyre advantage. But all the cars looking to be formed up now as the 5 light sequence has started, pulling in the clutch, building the res, waiting for the final lights to come on, which they are now. And lights out and away we go, and it's not a great launch initially, but the second phase of the start looks to be extremely good. Ricciardo now falling back, because obviously we're picking up the slipstream from Rosberg in the lead as we head down towards turn 1, picking up P2, making sure to leave some space on the inside as we sweep through in this contact. We're sideways, but we've managed to just about correct it and continue in second place. There's a massive gap. I've no idea what's happening there. Verstappen's come through, but the top 3 have all got away, including ourselves, and there's a massive gap. So as you can see from the replay, the Red Bulls actually going side by side and getting into each other, which just about collected us, and we just managed to avoid being majorly caught up in their accident. As you see in the background, there's just a train of cars just stopped on the circuit as they couldn't make their way through. Running wall of Hamilton, you can see Verstappen goes up the inside of Ricciardo, tags him, and then spins out, just about collecting us as he reverses off the track. The Williams goes through, as does the Force India Ferrari, and it's like the rest of the field all getting through there nicely. But Hamilton, our championship rival, really being held up as we're coming towards the end of lap 1 now. Picked up some nasty understeering, driving into the gravel. Huge oversteer moment there, and Verstappen is going to take advantage of that, moving head onto the pit straight. We pick up the slipstream nicely with rich mixture. You can see just how much more extra power and top speed we've got compared to that Red Bull, and thankfully we're going to be able to make up for that error there and get back P2. But it really does look like Rosberg ahead, as you can see, just romping off into the distance. It doesn't look like we've got particularly good race pace today around this Catalunya circuit. So Start of lap 4 now. Verstappen coming up the inside with DRS active. We're going to pick up the slipstream from him as he's weaving across the track to try and break that. We're going to look to the outside, see if we can hold it around there possibly. We're almost grazing the tyre faces there from our front right to his left rear. Verstappen holding it around the outside of turn 2. We're going to look again around the outside of turn 3 now as Verstappen cuts across the front of us to squeeze us out there, which is good to see. Good racing from the AIs. We're now looking to try and get into Verstappen's wing mirrors and put him off a little bit, trying to dodge out of the dirty air there to try and maximise our exits out of these corners, see if there's anything we can do at this point of the track to try and get past Verstappen, at least stay with him, whilst obviously DRS is going to be coming active in just a few corners time. But I think with the traction and downforce advantage that Red Bull has, it's not going to be enough for us to be able to stay with him, and indeed it was not as we cut to the end of lap 7 where we're coming into the pit lane as well as Verstappen. You can see the gap he managed to pull us as we nail the braking point, just about getting under the speed limit there. I think the lap before Rosberg had pitted, and then the lap before that Hamilton also pitted, so it's interesting to see that. I think Hamilton and possibly Rosberg, he might just be about able to make a 2-stop work, as we have a 2-second flat pit stop, which is great work by the Force India boys. But Hamilton really got committing early to what looked like a 3-stop. As you can see, that's him now coming down the pit straight, setting the fastest lap of the race as we're now coming out of the pits on our white-walled medium tyres. We're just about going to manage to stay ahead of him as you can see, Hamilton and Verstappen also interestingly going on to the soft compound tyre here, but we've emerged back into 7th place. However, at the end of that lap, Hamilton, you can see, closing the distance just so easily as we complete our first lap on this compounded tyre. And Hamilton, with that Mercedes power unit upgrade and the DRS and the slipstream advantage as well, he makes easy mincemeat of us there. There's not a chance we can refute that overtake attempt from him, as he's just romped off into the distance like the other Mercedes has in the race. And Raikkonen actually now catching up to us in the Ferrari. Of course, they had a whole host of upgrades as well, as we're now getting a call from the engineer about a change of strategy. We've got bigger things to deal with at the moment, which is the charging Ferrari up the inside. We're going deep on the brakes, holding it around the outside. We just about get that move back with a beautiful sweeping move around the outside. Engineer wanting us to change to the hard tyres, which might not be a bad shout considering how quickly these white wall tyres seem to be going off, as Raikkonen yet again a lap later pulling off the same move, and looks like he might just be a bit too far ahead for us to be able to do anything back to him this time round into turn 1, these first few corners of the circuit. And it looks to be that way. Raikkonen looks to be clear and he'll be ahead of us, as again cutting just a couple of laps later, coming into the pit stop, looking to nail the braking point once more for the line. Again, nailed it spot on. As you can see, Raikkonen now in the pit lane, Ricciardo following us in as well. We're all on the medium tyre, and it looks like we're all going to be going to the hard tyres. It looks like a few guys have already pitted onto that compound just a couple of laps before. 3.3 second stop there as we're being held, possibly for the Ferrari, or I think in turn was held possibly by the Red Bull, which is how that's all worked out for us there. But so you might have seen from the previous pit stops, so the AI seem to be pretty slow sort of coming out of turn 2 into turn 3, and we're a lot closer to Raikkonen than we were to Verstappen beforehand. So let's have a look here, just being wary of that, see if we can make it stick. And we do just about manage to go and dodge out of the back end of Raikkonen's car, looking around the outside, but he just manages to get on the throttle that little bit better than us, which gives him the track advantage and gets him ahead. Now, same as what we did to Verstappen, just looking to try and keep out the dirty air, just take a few different lines through the corners with the back end stepping out, as we just don't have the grip available to us as the Ferrari does themselves. Ricciardo now then looking to come through, and coming out of the pit lane was actually Hamilton as well, who was on the 3 stops. That's confirmed. He's just finished making his final stop, and he's obviously on the medium tyre. But right now we're battling Ricciardo on track. We're on the same compounded tyre, just about managing to hold him off here. But it looks like for this last 10 laps or so, this is going to be our race right now, just holding up as best we can the Red Bull, trying to make most of their straight line deficiencies compared to us, and trying to hold him off with the use of his DRS. You see Hamilton now right on the back of both of us as we're coming down towards the hairpin. Felipe Nasr out of the race there, not sure what's happened to him, probably some kind of mechanical failure. As Ricciardo's looked around the outside, you can see now side by side with Hamilton, who should be able to make that move stick with his better compounded tyre, but the AI going side by side. You see the positions changing in the top left hand corner, they're just ebbing and flowing, just nicking their nose in front and then losing position. It'll be interesting to see who's going to come out on top of there. We've got yellow flags now down the pit stripe by the looks of it. There's a stranded car which I believe is going to be Nasr. You can see it just on the grass there as we take a little bit of avoiding action just to make sure we're on the safe side, and that's really given us a nice gap, as that Hamilton and Ricciardo battling has given us what was a 2-second advantage, but within a lap. Here comes Hamilton once again, nothing we can do to prevent that overtake coming into play, and he's going to take 5th place away from us. We're now on the bubble in 6th place, getting 5th place back as Hamilton makes an error into turn 1. Looks like he's just locked up the front right, going deep, maybe just collecting them. You can see he's on the marbles, going into turn 1. Hasn't made it back to the racing line, and it's a bit of a, I don't know, it's a bit of a lazy sort of lock up there. He seemed to have slowed the car down enough, as you can see here. You know, he just sweeps into the corner, just locking up for, you know, he's well past the apex at that point, and the car looked to be slow enough, but AI making a mistake, and we've been in the right place at the right time to make the most of that, and we're back into P5 as we're now coming on to the second at DRS straight on that lap, that 28 of 33. You see our teammate's still ahead of us here, who looks to be making a possible one-stop work as Hamilton for the first time in this race, and AI actually going up the inside of us into this left-handed hairpin. We're still side by side, Hamilton leaving us racing room on the exit. We're going to go side by side again, getting a bit of a squeeze almost on the grass, just rubbing faces of the tyre as well for the right-hander, getting all very close, but we've managed to just about get the position back from Hamilton. He is looking extremely racy, and it's only going to be a matter of time, possibly down this pit straight, to see how close he is. He's going to just get past us and take the place into turns 1, 2 and 3, and then pull away from us from the rest of the race. As you can see, he's right on our coattails, DRS active, and as we cross over the start line of the race, he's through, just having to cover off Ricciardo if we can, now picking up the slipstream from Hamilton to make sure Ricciardo's not a threat into turn 1, which he is not. Hamilton absolutely nailing at the braking point this time round, and does make the move stick, and he is going to just disappear into the distance over the last 4 or 5 laps. However, Ricciardo is not going to do anything like that. Instead, he's going to try and come past us. We're going to pick up the slipstream once more with the rich mixture. You can see just how much power I don't know, it's so slow at the end of the straights, the Red Bulls. I don't know if it's some sort of, whether he's having to lift and coast possibly to save fuel at the end of the straight, because that last sort of 50 metres or 100 metres before the braking point for turn 1, they're just so slow. We seem to get a massive run on them as we're really struggling with the tyres on these last 3 or 4 laps of the race. And Ricciardo once again coming up the inside with DRS. Once again we're picking up the slipstream. This time we're going to have to go around the outside. You can see Ricciardo's DRS actually closing just briefly through there as we squeeze around his outside of turn 1, just trying all we can to maintain P6. We now come into turn whatever this is, and there's actually contact between ourselves and Ricciardo, as I don't think we reach out. So we're recovering the inside, and Ricciardo looks to make a sort of a dummy, just misjudges the braking point, and actually loses part of his front wing there, which is going to have a devastating effect on his ability through the rest of this race. And you can see we're now cut to the end of lap 33, the final lap of the race. Rosberg has already crossed the line to win. Hamilton has got past our teammate Perez, who's now Hamilton 4th, well, at least 4th, I'd presume. Perez in 5th, who's going to beat us this time round today. But our battle is still with Ricciardo, who with that front wing damage didn't have the downforce available through the high speed sweeping corners to maintain good sort of minimum corner speed to get a run on us. Thankfully for us, we're going to be able to maintain P6 as long as we can just get through these last few corners without any mishaps. The tyres, of course, extremely worn at this point. We're just feeding in the throttle, coming around the right-hander to finish this race, and it's going to be P6 today for us at the Spanish Grand Prix. Not a great race, it has to be said.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you've pulled through. Thank
Well, there you go. The engineer wasn't too confident, which is just brilliant. What you want to hear as a driver, that the engineer is not confident in the race ahead. But we did what we could. We took 6th place, so it's important that when you do have a poor weekend, you maximise your opportunities. I think 6th place overall is a good result for us today. All things considered, we're in a championship fight. We need to bring home points as often as we can and make the most of any opportunities we're given. And any poor races that we might have, we can make the most of as well.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. And it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well, though. There's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
So there you have it. There's your podium. Rosberg from Vettel from riding a double Ferrari podium. Hamilton missing out, which is going to be crucial for the championship as well. And obviously for our rivalry, he's still going to be gaining points on us, but it's good to see that he's not right on the top step of the podium at this early part of the season, which is going to be crucial, as I say, for the championship going forward.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Nico Rosberg takes over the lead of the drivers' championship after that excellent result. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
I'm going to go for Sebastian Vettel. People have suggested before that he can't race wheel to wheel, but as he showed today, it's nonsense.
On to the constructors then. Mercedes have extended their lead at the top of the standings. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend from them as they fight their way towards the top. There'll be plenty more twists and turns to come this season. I hope you can join us at the next race to see just who will come out on top.
So a brilliant race from Vettel there, going from 12th to 2nd in the Ferrari on a one-stop strategy. See, Hamilton was the only guy really looking to go for a 3-stop, but a variety of 1, 2 and 3 stops in that race. Just absolute carnage from a strategic point of view. But in the championship, we've lost the championship lead to Rosberg, obviously pulling a massive gap on us in this race today. We'd lost the place to Ferrari in the constructors as well, but that was to be expected to say with the upgrades Mercedes and Ferrari brought to this weekend. It was going to be extremely difficult to beat them. However, resource points, the main thing we're focusing on here. Yes, we're not always going to be able to finish on the podium or win races, especially when you've got the AI bringing in updates to their cars as well. But we made hay while the sun shined. That's a saying, isn't it? I got that right round the right way. Making hay while the sun shines. I don't know. It's something along those lines. But either way, we done what we could when we had the opportunities available, basically. So that's going to be round 5 of the championship from Spain. As you can see, we're now losing the rivalry to Lewis Hamilton. Obviously, next time out is going to be Monaco. With the 603 resource points, we're going to be looking, obviously, we've done everything we can really with the car for downforce-wise coming into Monaco. So moving on from there, it's going to be important with tracks like Canada and the power tracks coming up, obviously Azerbaijan as well. We need to get some engine upgrades and some straight line speed upgrades. So you'll have to look at the next episode, see what we're going to do there, see if we're going to put anything into any upgrade packages, possibly the engine, I don't know here. However, that's been part 5. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope to see you next time out for Monaco. But until then, it's bye for now.